Welcome to A Century of Cinema. Today I will be exploring my favourite films of 1961. First up, The Misfits. Directed by John Huston and written by Arthur Miller for his wife, the one and only Marilyn Monroe, sadly in her final completed movie before her death a year later. She plays Rosalind, newly divorced, who, along with her friendly landlady Isabel, Thelma Ritter, meets Eli Wallach's Guido, a pilot and truck driver, and his friend Gay, an old-school cowboy, Clark Gable, in also his final performance. Despite Guido's interest in Rosalind, she and Gay get together. Later, they meet up with rodeo rider Perce, Montgomery Clift, and go to round up some Mustangs. But you know what? None of that really matters. The Misfits is a character piece, first and foremost, mainly centered on Rosalind and Gay. But Guido, Isabel, and particularly Perce all have their moments. The title almost says it all. These people don't really belong anywhere. They find happiness and comfort wherever they can, sometimes with each other. The performances are excellent, especially Clift, Gable, and Monroe. Up there with the best work for all three. Clift turns a good supporting character into essentially a third lead by his presence, unique style, and consistently compelling scenes. Gable gives easily the best, most natural performance of his career, a hell of a swan song for the star, who died mere days after filming. And Marilyn Monroe is at her most authentic as Rosalind. This performance is the incontrovertible proof that she was more than just the bimbo, the bombshell. She was, in fact, a damn fine actress. The Misfits is a bittersweet reminder of what she could have given the world in the years that followed. The Hustler, based on Walter Tevis's novel, stars Paul Newman as pool hustler Fast Eddie Felson. His goal in life is to be the best pool player. To do that, he must defeat Jackie Gleason's Minnesota Fats. Early in the film, he gets his chance and comes close, only to be defeated, more by himself than Fats. While regrouping from that, he meets Sarah, played by Piper Laurie, a mildly disabled alcoholic, and the two develop a relationship, while navigating each other's character flaws. An opportunistic and ruthless gambler named Bert, George C. Scott in his usual repugnant character type, takes an interest in Eddie and offers to get him ready for another round with Fats for 75% of Eddie's winnings. The three hit the road, with Eddie playing pool until tragedy strikes. Then Eddie plays Minnesota Fats one more time. The Hustler was nominated for 9 Oscars, including Best Picture, Director for Robert Rossen, Best Actor for Newman, Actress for Laurie, Supporting Actor for Scott, and winning for Cinematography and Art Direction in the black and white categories. And while the film does look great, the standout is the performances. Jackie Gleason has an almost magical presence as Minnesota Fats, doing so much with so little. And for all of George C. Scott's repellent characters, this one may be his most hateful, very much to his credit. Piper Laurie has never been better, so broken and tragically beautiful. And Paul Newman as Fast Eddie gives my favourite of his early performances. He didn't win the Oscar for Fast Eddie this time, but when the sequel, The Colour of Money, came around in 1986, the Academy rectified that. But I'm going to give it to him for this one. Paul Newman is my choice for Best Actor for 1961.
I don't rattle, kid. But just for that, I'm going to beat you flat.
Ingmar Bergman's So Som Ian Spiegel, Through a Glass Darkly, or directly translated, As in a Mirror, stars Harriet Anderson as Karen, a schizophrenic recently released from the hospital, who is spending time on an island with her husband Martin, Max von Sydow, her father David, Gunnar Björnstrand, and her younger brother Minas, Lars Parsgaard. She is dealing with an inability to be intimate with Martin, as well as her strained relationship with her self-absorbed father, and Minas's sexual frustration, which is further inflamed by Karen's affection. Plus, she is also beginning to hear voices coming from the walls. This is the first film in what would come to be known as Bergman's Silence of God trilogy, more of a thematic trilogy than a narrative one. The conversations between the 4 characters delve into deep philosophical territory, which could make the film very dry, but Bergman is a master at weaving complex ideas with compelling characters and emotional resonance, as well as genuine visual beauty. provided by the inimitable work of cinematographer Sven Nykvist, even exceeding his effort with the previous year's The Virgin Spring. The movie is positively brimming with exquisitely composed shots. And for the second year in a row, a Bergman film would win the Oscar for Best Foreign Language Film. There are excellent performances all around, but especially from Harriet Andersson, who also surpasses her previous excellent work with Bergman in Summer with Monica and Dreams. Karen is such a demanding role, and Andersson imbues her with boundless volatility, sensuality, and warmth. Criminally under-recognized in its time, it is a performance for the ages. So, for the third time in less than a decade, Harriet Andersson is my choice for Best Actress. Finally, Stanley Kramer's Judgment at Nuremberg. Written by Abbie Mann, based on his earlier teleplay, it concerns the trial of a group of judges for their actions during the Third Reich. American Judge Haywood, played by Spencer Tracy, is enlisted to take the bench in the trial, along with two others. 4 judges are in the dock, with the main focus being on Ernst Janning, played by Burt Lancaster. He is passionately defended by Hans Rolf, Maximilian Schell, in his career-defining Oscar-winning role. Equally as passionate is the prosecutor, Colonel Lawson, Richard Widmark, who is also at the top of his game here. In fact, the whole cast is superb. It is my favourite Spencer Tracy performance. Burt Lancaster is subtly brilliant as the mostly silent Janning, barely speaking until near the end of this 3-hour film. There is also a sublime supporting turn for Marlene Dietrich as Frau Berthold, the widow of a Nazi general, who Haywood befriends and who offers him a different perspective on the case. And look, there's a young William Shatner. Oh, and hey, it's Colonel freaking Klink too. Werner Klemperer, along with Schell, is actually reprising his role from the original teleplay. But of all the talent on display, there are 2 performances which stick in the mind the most. Montgomery Clift and Judy Garland giving the greatest acting display of her entire career in the brief role of Irene Hoffman, who was good friends with an old Jewish man that was tried for having a sexual relationship with her. A blatant lie used to railroad the poor man into execution, which Irene has always vehemently denied, and must do so again in this trial, with heartbreaking sincerity.
What are you trying to do? Are you trying to... Why do you not let me speak the truth?
Equally impressive is Montgomery Clift as the mentally challenged Rudolf Peterson, who was sterilized because of his so-called feeble-mindedness. Clift gave what I believe to be his 2 best performances in 1961, The Misfits and Judgment at Nuremberg. And with Judgment at Nuremberg, he did it in only 1 scene. Yet it is possibly the most powerful scene in the film.
I would like you to judge. I want that you tell me, was she feeble-minded? My mother, was she feeble-minded?
This is Stanley Kramer's 2nd courtroom drama in a row, for my money surpassing his excellent work on Inherit the Wind a year earlier. He makes this 3-hour courtroom procedural feel like half that, and he does it using some of the most uncomfortable subject material ever, even incorporating actual footage of concentration camps. It should be a hard slog, but it just isn't. And frankly, I still don't know how he did it. Though clearly a large factor is Abbie Mann's screenplay, greatly enhancing his own teleplay for the big screen, keeping intact all of what was great about it, and giving it so much more. It is an important film, a moving film, and a truly great film. And it is my choice for Best Screenplay, Best Director, and Best Picture of 1961. Remember I said a few videos ago that that would have been my last all black and white video? Apparently not. I forgot how much I liked the black and white movies of the 1960s. Well, we'll see how we go. So join me next time on A Century of Cinema when I will be discussing my favourite films of 1962. Now go watch a movie.